Hi YouTube, I'm going to show you guys how to make a potato soup. What we're going to do is throw this bacon in the Dutch oven, get it nice and crispy, then pull our bacon out of the Dutch oven, put it on the side, and we're going to use that bacon grease and bacon fat to cook the rest of our potatoes, onions, garlic, and get our actual soup started. Now we're moving on to the second phase, which is we're just going to chop up this onion, chop up this garlic, and you can definitely hear the bacon getting sizzled in our Dutch oven, but it's okay. Chop up our onion. We're gonna use the onion first to deglaze the pan after we take the bacon out, and then throw the garlic in there after the onions get nice and soft. This doesn't need to be cut any specific way, but I'm just gonna go for a nice dice here. Holy shit, my eyes are already watering. I'm gonna cut this relatively chunky and try not to cut off my fingers as my eyes are watering. Fuck, God bless. I know there's a couple ways that you can avoid this, like running your onion under cold water before you start cutting it, but I'm just trying to not be a bitch and just take it. I've tried a whole bunch of different techniques when it comes to dicing up onions so that you don't cry. I personally think all those are bullshit because I've tried all of them and it still makes me cry. So at this point, I'm just gonna try and build up a tolerance. This recipe calls for right around 3 cloves, but when it comes to garlic, I think being stingy is like never a good thing. So the more garlic, the merrier. I've never had a dish taste worse necessarily because I've added too much garlic. I know there's a lot of cheats also for how to peel garlic. I've heard people say if you can put the garlic in a shaker cup and it takes off the skin and peels it for you. I've actually tried that and it does work, but in the words of Anthony Bourdain, if you're too lazy to peel your own garlic, you don't deserve to eat it. So we're gonna slice it relatively thick. We're gonna go ahead and pull our bacon out of our Dutch oven, take it to the side, throw our onions inside the Dutch oven, and get those cooking until they are relatively translucent, and then add the garlic. Our bacon is done now cooking in our Dutch oven, so we're gonna pull this out, set it to the side. This is exactly what we're looking for. You want it kind of brittle, because this is basically just gonna be chopped up into bacon bits and then served on top of our potato soup. If you look in our Dutch oven now, you'll see all of this bacon grease that we've gotten from the bacon. It's rendered out, all the fat is rendered out, and it smells and is gonna taste delicious. And we're gonna use that to cook our onions. We're gonna let that reduce. And like I said, you don't want to add your garlic as soon as you put your onion in because your garlic is gonna burn and then you'll get the taste of potent burnt garlic inside of whatever you're making. So just give the onion a 3-minute head start, 3 to 4 minute head start, then add your garlic. This is our sack of potatoes. We're gonna get these skinned up. There really is no easy way around this. The only hack I've ever learned for peeling potatoes is by watching my old roommate who's Mexican, watching his Mexican mom do this, and somehow she's able to peel a potato with what looks like a paring knife in the span of like 4 or 5 fucking seconds. And it just blows my mind. She also makes the best enchiladas I've ever had in my entire life. Peeling potatoes really is a pain in the ass. So if you have a wife who likes to talk a lot and you just want her to do something so she'll stop talking to you, this is perfect. It takes just the amount of perfect concentration to peel a potato with a peeler to where you can't really talk about other stuff because you might nick yourself. Or a girlfriend with ADHD, or kids who run around a lot and need to burn off something. Anyways, all right, our potatoes have been peeled. We're gonna chop these up and you're gonna shoot for like a 1/4 inch. I know most of you guys aren't really Bob the Builder, so a 1/4 inch is more than likely gonna be like the tip of your thumb right here. So this is a 1/4 inch. But slice these into 1/4 inch dice pieces, and then we're gonna throw those into our Dutch oven with our onion and garlic. There's a saying in French, it's called, I don't speak French, so I'm just gonna say this how it looks in English. Mise place or something like that, which essentially means do all your preparation and stuff before you start cooking. Which I guess I would do, but then I wouldn't really have a fucking cooking video that would be over 5 seconds. These are, in my head, about a 1/4 inch piece. Our potatoes chopped up. We're gonna go ahead and dump these potatoes into our Dutch oven and see where the onions are at. So let's move on over here. So this is what you wanna see. You're seeing a little bit of kind of like some crispy ends on here. It's a little browned, it's relatively translucent. Got our garlic chopped. I actually chopped up a couple more cloves just because I really love garlic and I feel like you can never have enough. So we're gonna add that in here. Give this a stir. Onions and garlic and bacon grease we have in here simmering down. And once you start really smelling the aroma of the garlic, that's when you know you're free to move on to the next couple steps. This recipe, like I said, also actually calls for some flour. Don't have any flour. The only purpose of you adding the flour is to try and thicken it up so it's a little bit more soupy. So I'm actually just gonna use some cornstarch instead because we don't have any flour. Probably like a tablespoon. And we're gonna whisk that up together really fast. It smells fucking so good. That's looking nice and thick there. And now we're gonna go ahead and throw in our potatoes. Be careful, make sure you don't have anything splash up. That bacon grease can splash up and take one of your eyes out, turn you into a cyclops. We have our potatoes in here. We're gonna give them a nice little stir. Make sure all those flavors kind of mix up a little bit. 4 cups in here, and the recipe calls for 4 cups. So 4 cups chicken broth, we're just gonna pour our entire container in here. And then 2/3 a cup of heavy whipping cream. I don't think I'm just gonna fucking eyeball this. You guys definitely know this already, but I'm lactose intolerant. There really is no replacement for actual fucking milk on this. If I could use oat milk or almond milk or something, I would. This is gonna give you your best flavor. We got 2 cups of regular milk. Now we have all of our liquids added to our soup. We're gonna turn the heat up on this puppy to get it to boil. Once it reaches a boil, you're gonna turn down the heat. I have mine set on like 3. After it starts boiling, turn down the heat to a simmer and then cook with the simmer, not the boil. Once the potatoes get to the point where you can stick them with a fork or cut them with a fork with minimal effort, the potatoes are done. We've let this simmer here now for probably, what do you think, maybe 10 minutes? Maybe 10, 12 minutes. And this is what it's looking like. You can see how it's breaking apart. Yeah. So this is how you know it's ready. The potatoes are nice and tender. Also, notice we haven't seasoned anything yet. And the reason why is, once you boil stuff, you might have it seasoned right before you start boiling it, but as it boils, it's gonna reduce. And as it reduces, that's gonna intensify any flavors that you put in there. So if it's salted just perfectly, once you boil it and reduce it, it's gonna be over seasoned and too salty. So you always wanna salt at the end, or do any seasoning that you're gonna do at the end. We're gonna take some of these potatoes out of here, throw them in this blender here. If you have an immersion blender, it's honestly preferred, but I don't think I've ever been in a kitchen with someone who actually has an immersion blender. It's kind of like, just seems like some like rich gadget shit that like no one actually has unless you're maybe working in a restaurant. But yeah, if you have an immersion blender, leave a comment and tell me it's worth getting one. Maybe I'll buy one or convince somebody, hint, hint, camera woman, to buy me one for Christmas. But we're gonna pull these potatoes out of here and blend them. That way we're still getting a little bit of the velvety texture of the soup, but also some chunks in there to add some texture. I'm gonna grab this strainer here and pull out some of these potato chunks and then just dump this straight into our blender. I'm just gonna use this little measuring cup. If you got better ideas, let me know. I really want some of this onion and garlic. Make sure I get that here at the bottom. Lid on, and let's blend. Damn, motherfucker almost exploded. Just back into our original concoction here. As you can see, it's nice and velvety. We're gonna turn down the heat on this because it is still relatively hot. And now we have a perfect balance of chunky potatoes and actual pureed soup. So we're going to add a little bit of sour cream. Not a lot, just a little bit. And you'll start to realize this is almost like we're just making a baked potato, but as a soup, which is literally the name of the soup. I'm gonna put baked potato soup right here. Butter literally makes everything better. So we have, this is about 6 tablespoons, I think. Yeah, of butter. We're gonna set that in there, let that melt. And this shit is gonna be so rich and delicious. We're gonna focus on our toppings for the soup. So I've already diced up these green onions, and I have some shredded cheese here. It's just like, it's got some cheddar and some Monterey cheese, I believe, in there. I'm going to dice up our bacon from earlier and to essentially just little bite sizes. If you like big chunkier bacon, you can just chop it chunkier. I'm just gonna go for relatively in the middle because I still wanna have some bite and some crunch texture wise. So these are gonna be our toppings. We got the cheese, we have our chives, and we've got some bacon bits over here. We're gonna go back to our soup It should just be about done now, and we are gonna actually start seasoning it. We're gonna start off with a very generous pinch of salt. We're probably gonna need about 2 or 3 pinches of salt actually. If you think about it, we put about 1.25 pounds of potato. So if you were to say, do some quick math, a baked
potato is probably 1/4 pound. And there's about 5 baked potatoes in here. So imagine how much seasoning you would put on 1 baked potato, multiply that by 5. That's what we're shooting for.
When it comes to seasoning, start off small and work your way up, because you can always season more, but you can never take out seasoning. Got some pepper in here as well. And I'm from Louisiana, so I always add this on everything, but we're gonna add a little bit of Creole seasoning. All right, we'll give this a quick little stir here. We'll give that a little taste. Oh, it's actually, it makes it seem like I was expecting it to be bad, but it's pretty good already. I'm gonna season a little bit more. I think it needs a little bit more salt and pepper. That was hot as fuck. Holy fuck. But the flavors are good. And then one thing I do want to add also is a little bit of cayenne and some ancho chili powder. Since it is winter time, we're going for something that's got a little bit of heat. This is some cayenne pepper that's at 40,000 heat units. I think that's Scoville heat units, but I'm not too sure. So we're just gonna add a little bit of this so it has some heat. The first time I cooked with it, I got some of my hands, wiped my eyes, and then I'm just sitting there cooking, and next thing I know, my eyes are just watering and burning, and it's because of the heat on this bad boy. A little bit of chili powder. We're gonna go ahead and add this in there. It's that fucking diabetes simulator. I've been cooking at this point now since I think I first took culinary arts and when I was maybe 14, 15. So at this point I can kind of just know how much I need to add. I say all that, it's gonna be too salty now. Okay, add a little bit more pepper. Damn! I got the flavors just where I want them at this point. So I'm going to add a little bit of the chives into here, a little bit of the bacon, a little bit of the cheese, give that a nice little mix. And then the rest I'm gonna use to put on the top. We're gonna add a little bit of our cheese in here. This is probably about a cup. I'm gonna try and do some of our thicker pieces of actual bacon. Add those into here. Add our chives. Give that a little spin. So at this point, if your soup is not to the consistency that you want it, you can add some cornstarch and it'll thicken it up just a tad. So I'm gonna show you guys what this consistency is looking like. And it's looking really good. I got the bacon and the cheese and the chives in here, so we're gonna give this one more try before I start plating. Dude, as a kid, there was one bowl in the house that when you look at it, you just put a connection between chili and soup and that one bowl. Everybody has a favorite bowl. This for chili and soup is my favorite bowl. Especially it's got little handles on there, it's pretty sick. And you can see those nice chunks of potatoes in there. We're gonna plate this with a little bit of cheese, some bacon bits, and some chives on top. And that is your potato soup. I'm gonna use the handles. Delicious.